When Cherry Blossoms Whisper. Volume 1, The First Petal. Chapter 3, Ramen and Regrets. The afternoon sun was already beginning to dip below the horizon when Haruto found himself walking alongside Kaido, making their way through the busy streets of the city. The air had a slight chill to it, hinting at the changing season. It wasn't unusual for Haruto to find himself in Kaido's company, but today was different. "You're dragging me to your family's shop again?" Haruto asked, a hint of reluctance in his voice. Kaido shot him an exaggerated pout. "You say that like it's a chore. You know my parents will feed you for free. And you could use some human interaction other than me, right?" Haruto didn't respond. He wasn't a fan of crowds, but Kaido's persistent nature made it hard to avoid the invitation. Besides, he had nothing better to do, and the idea of a warm bowl of ramen was certainly tempting. When they reached the ramen shop, the warm glow of the lanterns hanging outside and the savory scent of broth filled the air. The shop, though small, had a cozy charm. It had been in Kaido's family for generations, and despite its slightly worn exterior, the warmth of the place made it feel like home. "Mom, Dad? I'm here," Kaido called as he pushed open the door, immediately greeted by the hustle and bustle inside. Haruto followed him in, his eyes scanning the room. The familiar sounds of pots clanging and orders being shouted echoed in the small space. As they approached the counter, Haruto was greeted by Kaido's mother, a woman with a kind but tired face. She smiled warmly when she saw Kaido but gave Haruto a quick nod of recognition. "Ah, Haruto, you're here again," she said, her voice carrying a note of exhaustion but warmth. "You boys must be starving after school. What can I get for you?" "I'll take the usual," Kaido said, sliding into one of the stools. "And Haruto, you can pick whatever you want. Don't be shy." Haruto hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "I'll have the tonkatsu ramen, please." "Coming right up," Kaido's mother said before turning to the kitchen to relay the orders. Haruto settled into his stool, feeling out of place in the lively atmosphere. He wasn't used to this sort of casual, family-oriented setting, especially not with someone like Kaido who seemed to fit so easily into it. Haruto had always kept his distance from people, preferring solitude to socializing, but Kaido's insistence on dragging him into situations like this made him wonder why he kept agreeing to it. "So, you're stuck with Sakura for the festival planning, huh?" Kaido asked, casually slurping up some noodles. Haruto's gaze shifted to Kaido. "Yeah, looks like it." Kaido raised an eyebrow. "What's the deal with her? You seem to get along about as well as oil and water." Haruto frowned. I don't know. She's different. Cold, I guess. Not like anyone else in school." Kaido laughed, his voice light and teasing. "That's the understatement of the year. She's practically an iceberg. But hey, maybe that's just her thing. She's not used to people, right? I heard she's been through a lot." Haruto didn't respond immediately, his mind drifting back to their earlier interactions. There was something undeniably intriguing about Sakura despite her prickly exterior. It wasn't just that she was different, it was the way she seemed to guard herself so fiercely, as if afraid to let anyone get too close. Before he could dwell too much on it, Kaido spoke again, his voice lower this time. "You know, Sakura works here sometimes, right?" Haruto blinked in surprise. "Here? In the ramen shop?" "Yeah, she does the dishes or helps out in the back when she's not busy with school stuff." "She's a bit of a mystery, huh?" Kaido grinned, clearly enjoying the teasing. "You should have seen her the first time she walked in. I thought she was going to freeze the place with that icy stare of hers. But hey, we got along fine after a while. Mostly." Just then, the kitchen door swung open and out came Sakura wearing an apron holding a large tray of ramen bowls. She looked slightly out of place in the bustling ramen shop, her usual stoic demeanor replaced by something more weary. Sakura noticed Haruto sitting at the counter and shot him a brief, almost imperceptible glare before setting the tray down in front of them. "Here," she said, her voice as cool as ever. "Eat up. Don't expect any special treatment just because you're here with Kaido." Haruto met her gaze, trying not to be caught off guard by her presence. He had to admit, seeing her outside of school, away from the chaos of student life, gave him a different perspective. She seemed more human somehow, less of a distant enigma. "Thanks," he said, a bit awkwardly. Sakura gave a small nod before turning to head back into the kitchen. But before she disappeared through the door, she glanced over her shoulder and added, "Don't go burning anything, Soma." Haruto blinked in surprise. "What?" Last time Kaido tried to help in the kitchen, he nearly set the entire place on fire with his special ramen technique, she explained dryly, disappearing behind the curtain into the back. Kaido chuckled, shaking his head. "She's not wrong. That guy has the grace of a bull in a china shop." But I'll give her credit. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. Haruto stared down at his bowl, the warm steam rising from it, and tried to process what had just happened. It wasn't that he hadn't known Sakura was capable of wit. It was just that, until now, it had always been buried beneath her cold, distant exterior. The rest of the evening passed in an easy rhythm, with Kaido regaling Haruto with stories about his family's ramen shop and Sakura's less-than-flattering quirks. Despite the strange discomfort that lingered in the air whenever Sakura was near, Haruto found himself starting to appreciate the odd, unspoken dynamic between them. As they finished their meals, Haruto looked at Kaido, who was digging into a second bowl of ramen with gusto. "Thanks for dragging me here. I didn't expect it to be like this." Kaido shrugged, wiping his mouth with a napkin. "Hey, what are friends for if not to drag you into strange situations?" Haruto couldn't help but chuckle softly. It was the first time he'd felt a real connection to the world around him in days, maybe even weeks, and for once he wasn't alone in his thoughts. Thanks for watching our video. If you find this video interesting, then please subscribe our YouTube channel. If you're watching this video from TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram, then follow our page for more contents like this.